Boxing King Media in association with Boxer. With me on Zoom, Spencer Fearon. Spencer, appreciate you jumping on. Huge news came out yesterday. Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte is now off. The show may continue, obviously seeking an opponent, but as of now, there is no opponent. As we know, Dillian Whyte there was an adverse finding in one of his test samples with WHYTE. Just your first immediate reaction when you heard about this?
What was it? What's the song by Lionel Richie? Once, twice, three times a lady. Come on, man. Right. Listen, it's crazy right now. That's all I got to say on it. You know what I mean? Me and Tony's going to give the real breakdown on this at 8 o'clock later on today on The Fight Is Right. You know, it goes, Raz.
I mean, but, I'll appreciate a little bit today.
Right. Yeah. But this could actually signal the end of Dillian Whyte's career. That's what it could signal. And, you know, dealing with Matchroom, and I think they're experienced now enough because of the debacle that happened with Conor Benn. They know how to deal with these things, and they're thinking, right, everything that went, which they should have done with Conor Benn, even though Conor Benn's now being allowed to fight, they know how to deal with this now. They know how to navigate it now. And they're saying, right, when these things come in now straight away off of the bat, we got to put it out there and say, look, this is what it is. This was being found, so therefore fight's been cancelled, right? But also, when you're dealing with a young man in Conor Benn, there's mileage that they can get out of him. I'm going to be real. There's not a lot of mileage that they could get out of Dillian Whyte. So Dillian Whyte he's expendable. That's it. So, okay, then. Not saying they're throwing him underneath the bus. They're complying with all the things that they should have done when Conor Benn's stuff came out. They are now dealing with it now. And fortunately or unfortunately, Dillian Whyte has to bear the brunt of it. And that's that.
Spence, Dillian's obviously put a statement out where he protests his innocence. He's shocked. He's devastated to learn about the report from WHYTE. He also didn't know that the fight was cancelled until he had probably just saw it just like the rest of us on social media. He does confirm that without a shadow of doubt that he has never taken a reported substance in this camp or at any point of his life. He also then further says that this is not the first time that I've been reported, as previously I have proven my innocence as well.
Okay. On the reels, the second time you didn't really prove your innocence. I'm just going to be 100%. And Dylan's my friend, but you didn't really prove your innocence the second time around. You know what I mean? It was that there was no B sample that was submitted, right? And it's not even me being bitchy about it. I'm just being honest. I'm tired. It's like, what I realize is this is like, when I go to bat for people, I go to bat for people. And very rarely is it reciprocated. There's certain people that will reciprocate. I ain't going to call no names, but there's certain people, right? I regard Dillian as a friend. I went to bat hard for him on the Rivas thing, right? That I still get mullered over it now. You know what I mean? That was kind of like the slippery slide of me losing my contract with Sky. How hard I went to bat for Dillian when nobody wanted to talk his name, right? And he knows the encouragement that I was giving him because he's a friend, proper friend. I've known him since he's been a baby, right? So I'm not here to play judge and jury over no one. But if you are guilty, this signals the end of your career if you're guilty. Do you know what I mean? And if you willingly and knowingly took any form of drug to cheat, and right now everything's pointing in the direction that you cheated. That's what it is. I'm just gonna have to be totally 100% real with this. So it looks like then the book's gonna be thrown at you, and that signals the end of your career, right? But what I have realized, I'm gonna keep this thing. I'm just gotta be honest. I'm just gonna blurt it out with you. The amount of phone calls that I got yesterday were people who were actually happy, right? and I had to put them in their place a little bit. I'm saying, like, how can you be happy at someone's demise? But a lot of people are like, they'll tolerate Dillian Whyte, but they don't actually like him, but they'll tolerate him. And now they are all coming out. They're coming out, and you can, like, no one's not going to go public on this thing or anything, but people are actually glad that this has come out and it's happened to him. This is this is true. Realize I'm not one of those people. You know what I mean? Like I said, I class Dillian Whyte as a friend, proper friend. You know what I mean? But what I am saying is, like, you're not going to get no favors from Eddie Hearn. And that's the truth. And, you know, and people hold on to things. Even down to when Dylan turned around and said, what does Anthony Joshua's balls taste like? And all the rest of it. I know that burnt Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's like, what? So when all of these kind of things are coming out, it's twofold. How they can look at it is like, well, it's kind of cool because we want to give an easier fight to Anthony Joshua because we've got this big mega fight that could be happening most probably in the new year now with Deontay Wilder. Why should we take this chance? Right? Why should we take the chance? So now they've got to find a substitute that could fit the bill. And as much as people are laughing at this Derek Chisora thing, yeah?
We'll come back to Derek Chisora and potential opponents, but one of the things that Dillian makes clear in his statement is, I insisted on 24/7 VADA testing for this fight through my own expense. And we know that's not cheap. You're looking around £30,000.
Yeah.
For that. So when a fighter has enrolled with VADA, why does a fighter then risk taking any substance?
I have no idea. Right? I have no idea. But something's been found, and it's not traces of, it's like something's been found. Right? And let's just be real.
We obviously have to wait for the actual findings and what it was. And
exactly. And we'll sit down. But
we have to respect Dillian and allow him the opportunity to prove his innocence.
Of course, you're gonna have to allow him to prove his innocence, because what else is it? But we like to say, like, it's you're guilty until you can prove your innocence. It's not innocent till proven guilty. No, you're guilty. If any accusations are out and all the rest of it, and you know what, people are going to be sitting down saying, well, there's no smoke without fire, and 2012, and then the reverse stuff. I know exactly how people are going to be thinking. So I'm not in a position to say anything on it, because sometimes when I go to bat a little bit too hard. And I've just realized, like, you know what? My personal feelings towards Dillian, I just hope and pray that you've not taken anything. I hope and I pray. But, you know what I mean? We got to look at certain things. And when you look at certain things, like, I just hope that you haven't taken anything. But right now, it doesn't look good for you. And I'm just going to be real. It don't look good for you, right? I don't wish any bad on you, but it don't look good for you, bro.
In this very dangerous sport, these scenarios are coming up quite frequently, Spence. I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times over the years, but what action needs to be taken? Does someone actually be fully banned for life out of the sport completely for other fighters to take heed?
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen, right? Because what I notice is, like, Conor Benn, for instance. You know what I mean? He's now been given the chance to go and box again, and we'd speak regular, and he'd be like in tears, like, "Nah, but I ain't done it. You know what I mean? Say he did do it, though. Just for instance, say he did do it, right? And he wasn't allowed to box again, right? He was banned from the sport and everything else. Would that stop anybody else from saying, right, now I'm gonna not do it? It's not gonna stop nobody, right? Because if you're gonna cheat, right, especially in this sport, I know how hard boxing is. Boxing is hard, right? But if you're going to cheat, but you're cheating basically because you're a coward. You know what I mean? I've said this so many times that boxing, the artistry of professional boxing, yeah, that didn't originate in Greece. The Greeks didn't give us boxing. Oh no, boxing originally came from Ethiopia, right? That's where it originally came from. The earliest forms of that, of the supposed, but it got broken down to noble art over years through the adaptation of through the Greeks. But boxing originated in Ethiopia. So instinctively, right? And the earliest civilization of the Homo erectus human being came out of Africa. Boxing is in our DNA to fight, to defend. It's in this your natural instinct to fight. So to pit your skills or your bravery or your toughness, you know what I mean, or your mindset against somebody else in a controlled environment is the most beautiful thing on the planet. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. We saw beauty last week when we saw Terence Crawford. It's beautiful. So then to go and do that and then take a substance that can enhance you to damage somebody, to maim somebody, it is actually like, you mean, bringing a knife to a gunfight. So off of that, the stipulation should be, you should be banned for life. But people will stand on it when it's nobody connected to themselves. Because as soon as there's someone connected to themselves, then what we do, we pipe it down a bit. And it's the truth. Everybody does it. It's human nature. Oh, but I know him. He ain't a bad guy. And and all the rest of it. We say so many things. But just because you're not a bad guy doesn't mean that you haven't done a bad thing that could potentially lead to a bad thing happening to your opponent. Because somebody could die. Being on drugs doesn't make you more skilled, more technical. But what it does do, it makes you have more endurance. So if that is the case and somebody is found guilty of that act, you should be banned for life. And I stand on that. Not like, oh, I took something and it had something in it. Totally different. No, you were actually juicing up to damage someone. You should be banned for life.
We alluded to their potential opponents for Anthony Joshua. A lot of people think David Hay did an interview yesterday, I believe it was yesterday night, with Seconds Out, where he said that
I saw that with Raider Raheem.
Derek Chisora told him over a week ago that he was going to fight Joshua because the White was going to fail the test. Now, I'm not sure how accurate and how those comments were in terms of between Derek and David, but obviously that's what David said. Now, online, everyone's talking about Chisora being the front runner, but a lot of people are not happy with Chisora being the front runner. Just want to get your thoughts because there are other heavyweights on that card that could potentially step in.
Like heavyweights like who? Hrgovic?
Denton McKean's on there as well. Washington's on there as well.
Can you justify Washington, who I like, nice guy? Can we justify Washington being to fight Anthony Joshua right now? You can't justify it. Who else did you call?
Hrgovic is fighting, obviously.
Hrgovic, you could justify that. He's an unbeaten fighter, even though I believe that Zhang beat him. But we also know that he just lost his father, right? So in that fight, so I can give you a massive squeeze for that, right? Because I know all of the bereavement. I speak about it quite regularly, right? But yeah, Hrgovic, Anthony Joshua don't need a Hrgovic right now. I'm just going to be real with you, right? Hrgovic is a better fight than Anthony Joshua fighting Dillian Whyte. On paper, it is. Because Dillian Whyte, 2 fights ago, got knocked out, right? Like to be a paper filler, to fill the cracks in the wall, would people be interested in watching Chisora in with? I think the crowd in attendance, but I don't think it wouldn't reverberate into or translate into pay-per-view buys, right? Because you have to justify. It's like, was it £20 odd? How much is it?
I think it's 26.99 on top of
Right,
my
it's
head.
26. That's going to be difficult to justify, but there isn't much difference between Chisora and Dillian White if you look at it on paper. Right? Both just fought for the world title. Chisora actually lasted longer than Dillian White, even though everyone thinks like it was a Tyson Fury bridging thing. Like, come on, that's, you know what I mean? But what I really want to see that for Anthony Joshua, only if I knew that Deontay Wilder was there in the crowd and straight after that fight's going to be signed. That's the only way I could take it, right? That's the only way I could take that fight. But fair play to Derek. If he gets that fight, Derek just knows how to slip in. So, you know what I mean? Trust me. And like, God bless Derek. If that's the case, God bless him. I like people earning as much as they can earn. But yeah, you know how it goes. People are going to be quoting that fight like no one's business. I'm just going to be real. They would be quoting it, but I would still go and watch it.
Okay, well, Spence, we look forward to some news from Matchroom over the next couple of days on whether Derek's the opponent, somebody else is the opponent, or whether the show even continues, and we'll find out, and hopefully more about this whole Dillian White stuff as well. And I'm sure we'll catch up with you very soon.
Yeah, man, Raz, big up yourself, man. Peace, two fingers. And remember, catch me on The Fight Is Right tonight at 8 p.m. Myself and Babatunde Ajayi on the Stamina for Sale YouTube channel.
Spence Fearon, thank you for speaking to Boxing King Media.